Plus Sports Special on a Saturday. Wow. There are matches this weekend, but I'll start with something that actually upsets me. It's not good news. Nigerian athletes were disallowed from participating in the 15th FINA World Swimming Championship 2021 held in Abu Dhabi. The athletes and the representatives claimed that they were denied access to participate in the competition by authorities of the United Arab Emirates. Now, according to the athletes, they arrived in the UAE from European countries, not Nigeria, but were denied the opportunity to represent their fatherland. Among the athletes affected are Philip Adejumo and Abiola Ogubanwo. Now, though organizers of the 2021 FINA are yet to respond to inquiries on the case of the disqualification of the athletes, there's an ongoing diplomatic row between Nigeria and the UAE. The seeming diplomatic row between Nigeria and the UAE had persisted since the outbreak of COVID-19, and it's increased after the Omicron variant emerged. Last Friday, for instance, the federal government cut down the daily flights of UAE's Emirates Airlines to just one per week to the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. Following the frustration, some of the athletes withdrew from the competition. Some of them also complained that they were not allowed to see Nigerian officials. Now, okay, I hate to start from this. Let me start from home. In the course of doing this, and I'm sure it's going to happen to you too, it's not bad news. It seems like bad news though, but it's good news actually. You will make a lot of enemies in the course of doing this job. Well, learning under me. I'll tell you why. And a whole lot of my guys will actually watch the people's back, the Amaju of this world because of whatever. You know, in the course of time, I have learned not to do it. You know, I've learned not to watch my guys' backs. You know, I say as it is. I criticize them all the time. Now, Lagos State government at a point were trying to rearrange their federations. So they had a swimming federation then. I won't call the man's name. Elderly man. And I asked him, when he said, okay, journalists ask you questions. And I was like, the only swimming pools that we had then were only the ones that were in elite clubs in Lagos. Ikoyi Club, Lagos City Country Club. You know, we didn't have any swimming pool functioning in Roe Park. We didn't have any swimming pool functioning in this national stadium. So I was like, if you give this guy the job of federation, okay, are you paying him pension? Because really, he's not watching over any swimming activities. And that caused problems. At the end of the day, well, National Stadium Swimming Pool is one of the best in Nigeria today, being managed by a private company. Roe Park is being worked on as we speak. And Teslim Balogun is doing very well. Swimming Pool is doing very well, you know. And things are getting better. But let me start with that. That's an example of how Nigerians just squander money over things that don't exist.
Well, this is not a political show, so obviously we
No, we're not talking politics. No.
Yeah, the nitty-gritties of politics. But as sports lovers and as sports journalists who have to cover all myriads of sports, swimming is such a major competition around the world. The Michael Phelps have set such record standards that Nigerians can only hope and dream of matching 10, 20, 30 years from now. And given the rate of our development, given the rate of limited involvement of resources in ensuring that there are swimming pools available, even public swimming pools available for children to go in and garner the kind of interest that generically happens from children playing. It means that we will probably not reach there for hundreds of years.
Let me come to that. That man doesn't like me till now. I'm not going to call his name. And one of the things I said that day was that, does the man understand the fact that the highest medals in the Commonwealth Games and at the Olympics actually comes from swimming? They have 185 medals at the Olympics from swimming alone.
There's so many opportunities for a single swimmer to earn a myriad of...
30.
Yes.
So Michael Phelps at a point at the Olympics for Australia, I think.
No, for England.
Yeah, got
the US.
one particular Olympics, he had 30 medals in different ones: breaststroke, half stroke, one-thing stroke. He had medals in practically every stroke. 30 medals, just one man, and that's the amount of opportunities swimming can. I'm like, why can't we look that way? As in, if we can't make all the medals in the world, why can't we make medals from just? Okay, let's carry Ijo boys to swimming alone and make 30 medals each.
The truth is, if we spread out the expertise when it comes to the swimming events, we could have up to 30 Olympians coming back with medals. Maybe not gold, but certainly medals.
Definitely
representing us.
Let's amass the medals.
Yes.
But this is the topic for today. Our Nigerian swimmers, two of them, Ogubanwo and then Phillips, went to Dubai to compete, of course on their own, but for Nigeria, and they were barred. Now, they weren't understood why they were barred. Was it because of the ties that we had with Dubai, or because of COVID-19 restrictions? They didn't even allow them to see the officials.
You know what this tells me? It's a failure in diplomatic relations.
Like you said earlier, I was going to say no. Then I realized that there's no way we will discuss this and politics won't come into play.
Yes. If
politics should not be involved in sports.
Yes, if the right diplomatic channels had been were in place, the country would already know whether our athletes would be allowed in. And at the very least, we wouldn't waste so much money flying them to Dubai, Abu Dhabi. And when we have to consider that, what does it mean that politics is now such a big part? If it's the Omicron variant, this is not the country it was discovered in.
Sure.
And every country around the world is somehow experiencing cases. They're now rising cases. Some countries don't even know their Omicron variants in their borders, mostly because of lax testing protocols. But it doesn't mean it's not already everywhere. So discriminating against Nigeria specifically, and I want to know, was Nigeria the only country prevented from entering? What other countries? Because
we're prevented.
Yes,
it's like hearing a side of the story. We haven't heard the other side. Were other countries actually barred from this event? Because what Ogubanwo and Phillips were doing is that when you go for these competitions, it's the FINA championship in Abu Dhabi in Dubai. Now, I think it's about garnering points for themselves, their personal career now. But of course, they'll be swimming for
And where
Nigeria.
are the diplomatic attaches that are supposed to accompany the teams?
How they went alone, and they are claiming that the officials didn't even let them see.
Yes, my point is, when players, no matter whether they're going on their own accord or not, obviously there should be representation from the government.
This is Nigeria.
Accompanying them.
This is Nigeria.
And we still have to raise it, because if we accept it as the norm, nothing ever changes.
Unfortunately, it's the norm. Nigerians will not. I can assure you, this is a Nigeria where we had a match in Brazil, or we had a friendly in Brazil or something. We went for the Olympics in Brazil or something, and the minister said he didn't even know that the team had arrived. It was an Asian man that came to the rescue and met with Mikel Obi and the rest of them and actually sorted them. Our Nigerian officer said they didn't even know they had traveled, talk less of arriving at. This is it's the norm. It's unfortunate, but it's the norm.
We have such limited opportunities to express our dominance in the world. We don't have significant economic power, significant diplomatic power on the world stage. Sports is one avenue that we can. There's a more level playing field for everyone, even though more resources are spent by the Europeans and the Americans.
I think it's unfortunate that
the Chinese.
Nigeria don't understand that if you advertise, you work hard on your arrangements for sporting activities. It's called advertisement. You make more money. If you don't advertise and you don't work hard towards it, it's like saying you are reducing the time. It's your clock you are reducing, not the time.
And then at the very least, the more successful we are in whatever sports,
the more money it brings in.
Aside from that, the more opportunities for us to host big world events, brings tourism into the country, brings the kind of scrutiny that will force our governments to sit up and put our best foot forward. We want our stadiums, our national stadiums, to be some of the best in the world. But only the kind of spotlight that comes with world attention can force these administrators to do the needful, to do what's necessary to build up and maintain our infrastructure.
I don't know if the English Premier League for tomorrow, fixtures for today and tomorrow for the weekend, some matches were actually delayed. Some
cancelled, postponed.
Were cancelled, postponed, whatever word it was. Manchester United against Brentford was postponed, I guess. I think, okay, some of the matches here. Now, Aston Villa will take on Burnley. Well, let's look at Leeds United, a major banana peel against
Arsenal.
A very resurging Arsenal. I'd like to mention that. Everybody's expecting me to actually yab them. I won't do that.
This might actually...
They are resurging Arsenal.
This might actually be a match that plays into Leeds United's hands.
Exactly, because first they are home, and Arsenal, we hear, beer parlor talk though, we hear that they're removing the captaincy ban from Aubameyang and dropping him. Some people are, of course...
He's not going to be in the squad at all.
At all. In every team, you have your loyalists who will take, and Aubameyang has his own too. You know, so some people are actually
misguided as they are.
Some are grumbling about why Aubameyang, what did he do, was a fantastic captain.
Morgan is a specific...
why some are saying that, listen, he wasn't doing anything really, he's not getting the goals.
I mean, when he wasn't dropped because he wasn't getting goals, he wasn't dropped because his performances and form have dipped.
He was being irresponsible.
He was being irresponsible, arriving at training late, and those are not the kind of examples you want to set as a captain. The fact is, Aubameyang needed to be dropped. An example needed to be made. And especially when it's your captain, it needs to be an absolute. We saw what happened with Emery. When he was in charge, there was sniggling in the dressing room. The players had lost complete and total respect for him. And why? Because he wanted to be the nice guy. Because he is a natural nice guy. Arteta is not so. Arteta has grown in the shadows of Wenger, who always knew how to keep his players in check, no matter how little success they were having on the field. He worked under Pep Guardiola, who's a control freak at the best of times. So he has the understanding that he has to keep these players in line. And that's what he's trying to do with Aubameyang.
But I think that this is not the point. For example, look at Francis in them, for example. A few of them were Arsenal fans. And they're getting fresh because they are winning games these days. And I say they are Matan. It's not like you are fresh because of anything. I mean, but the truth be said, this is not just the time. I think it's a resurgence for Arsenal. They're getting much better. And I think that should have, tough love for now. Not just take out the captaincy band. Yes, he's been irresponsible. Yes, he wants a resurgence in the team. And he has gotten that.
Unfortunately, we'll never be completely privy to the inner workings of
what happened really.
What happened in the dressing room, but the inner workings of Arteta's mind. How many conversations have been had with Aubameyang? What were the responses that he gave? What
are the real things he has actually done?
Yes, and the fact is, since he got his last contract with Arsenal, he's been scathing through. There hasn't been a kind of take charge attitude, the kind we saw before he got the contract. Now he's gotten the contract. It's been 2 years since we saw any kind of sustained form from him. And Lacazette, who is oftentimes kept out of the starting lineup, has performed more admirably for me and for many Arsenal fans than Aubameyang.
Lacazette for me should be a spectator, not even a footballer. He should be in the stands.
I think it's the nature of Arsenal players.
He stands in front of the goalkeeper and he has the ball with him, and my 91-year-old grandma will score the goal. Lacazette will not score it.
I don't think you're being fair to Lacazette. He certainly no Yakubu.
Well, it's close to it.
No, I don't think he's been.
Okay, now let's look at the fact that the guys who have suffered the most from this Omicron COVID-19 will be the Hotspurs, Tottenham Hotspur. And Conte has done well so far. We know what he is, an Italian. They will do anything possible to win matches. If they have to go cunning, if they have to fall down, if they have to, But his biggest test is today against Liverpool.
And we are not even going to get that match.
Jurgen Klopp.
Yes. Whenever the match does get played, it will be an interesting match.
We'll watch it on TV, though.
Yes.
On TV, but I don't think the fans will be there.
The gegenpressing versus the counter-attacking prowess of an Italian. I mean, it's a tactical feast. And if we can, those of us who understand how the game works.
The reason why I asked that question was because Francis told me to mention it to you. And I think he wants to put you on the fence. I don't like the idea of everybody saying, and Tottenham against Liverpool, let me stay on the fence. Conte against Klopp. Don't stay on the fence. Who do you think it will go to?
I think Tottenham will surprise Liverpool with the results. The fact is, they are defending with three at the back.
When you say a result, be specific now. Is it draw or win? Don't say a result. Anybody can say a result.
Okay, what are the particulars? Who's playing at home?
Tottenham's playing at home.
Playing at home.
Liverpool is traveling to a White Hart Lane.
And as long as they don't score within the first 15 minutes, which is typical for Liverpool, I think Tottenham wins the game.
Okay. I didn't say it. It was all Mikhail. Tottenham wins the game. Let's look at other matches to be played in the Premier League, in the fixtures.
Between today and tomorrow.
Yeah, today and tomorrow. Okay, Tottenham, Liverpool are the last
game tomorrow.
But Wolves will take on Chelsea. And I was going to say this yesterday during the show. I think for some reason, Tuchel is playing a good game with Chelsea, but the opponent now knows how he plays. And unlike Pep Guardiola, he doesn't have the mindset to actually change things. He wants to go on the way he's been doing it. People now know how he does it.
But then I think we're forgetting...
Everton took all the steam.
But I think we're forgetting that Tuchel is actually a master tactician. He will change what needs to be changed. The problem is that Lukaku is not fit right now. He's not 100% fit. Coming off of one injury, he's now positive for coronavirus. Werner, I'm done with Werner. I'm ready for Werner to leave. I'm not going to give him as much faith as I placed on Fernando Torres when he was going through it. There's just not enough attacking striker instinct. The kind of lethality that we need in our number 9 is currently unavailable. Not because Lukaku isn't a lethal number 9, but because he's doing it all by himself and he can't even be there all the time.
What surprises me the most about Chelsea at this point is the fact that the man is relying too much on someone, and he's doing very well. Rudiger. And Rudiger happens to be a defender.
But the thing is, Chelsea's situation right now isn't as much as I've spoken about the need for a clinical number 9 up front, someone who's going to play for us as much as 30 games for the rest of the season. Unfortunately, that is not Chelsea's biggest problem right now with their stumbles. It's their defense. And I think the big problem in the defense is there's lack of stability. Four defenders are out of contract at the end of the season. Thiago Silva, Christensen, Rudiger, Azpilicueta. And there are reports now that Alonso and Azpilicueta are looking to leave in January because they're not getting as much game time as they want.
And they're very good players.
And I don't know about Alonso being a very good player. Maybe his best days is too slow.
I watched Alonso's match, Chelsea's last match, and it was fantastic. He had this link with Rudiger, and it was fantastic.
As a wing back, I need him to have more links with my attackers rather than my centre backs.
Let's look at quickly before we go to the next story. Newcastle will host Manchester City. Now, Man City have been known to be the English Galacticos. They will take it to the cleaners if they have to. But Newcastle, what can they do? Yes, new buyers. Yes, they are putting money, but they haven't bought them. If they were meeting Newcastle, say, mid-January, and they had brought in players, I would understand that, okay, good.
We've talked about this. Yeah. This is the bend.
This is the bend, yes. December is always the bend in the English Premier League, yeah.
And historically, teams fighting for relegation, this is the time they start to step up.
Yeah.
It might take one win now, one win in January, another win in February, but ultimately this is the time.
They just climb up.
Yes.
Newcastle at this point, considering they have new owners, the Arab oil money boys, and all they are thinking of doing is just hold on to the branch. Just don't sink.
For as long as
it takes, and then just let's end the season.
And aside from their motivations to win, the history of relegation contender teams surprising the rest of the league at this period and for the rest of the season, there is the pressure on Manchester City. They are at the top now. And Liverpool isn't slowing down. There's every chance that if Chelsea pick up a win now, they'll go on a run and carry on again. And that pressure will bear down. Now, these are a group of champions, talented players who have been there and done it. They've gone up against Liverpool in the past, and right up until the end, they still managed to win. Unfortunately, this is the time that big boys do drop points. Chelsea have dropped a point, 2 points now. Liverpool might. Manchester City probably will. And the level of play that we saw in their last match cannot be replicated week in, week out. And now they're playing 3-4 days apart. Eventually it will catch up to them.
Sure.
De Bruyne is back, and even he is not fully
fit yet, yeah.
So do we expect that players like Grealish are not going to stumble in front of the goal post again? Sterling isn't going to sluggishly slow down. Gundogan hasn't scored a lot of goals in the last 5 matches.
Sure.
Bernardo Silva is still a fantastic player, but he's not the goal-getter by nature. He's the slick midfielder who's going to move the ball through the pitch.
Now, the Bundesliga assassin, Robert Lewandowski, broke Gerd Muller's long-standing record for most Bundesliga goals in a calendar year as Bayern Munich beat Wolfsburg 4-0. The Polish striker netted Bayern's 4th on the night, his 43rd of 2021, going past Gerd Muller's record dating back to 1972. Thomas Muller opened the scoring for Bayern in his 400th game for the club in the first half, before Dayot Upamecano's first for the club, and a curling effort from Leroy Sané gave Bayern a 3-goal advantage. Lewandowski rounded out the win in the 87th minute, meaning Bayern has now gone 7 games unbeaten, heading into the winter games. I'm sure everyday Erling Haaland is wondering, when am I going to be a legend in the German Bundesliga? Lewandowski can't stop scoring. Now he breaks Gerd Muller's record since 1972.
You know, Ronaldo's record of scoring goals has taken a huge leap since he clocked 30, because he has structured his game to be a more goal-oriented striker rather than just a forward or a winger. But Lewandowski has always been a striker, and we've always known he had it in him. But since he clocked 30, his goal scoring for Bayern Munich has just gone even higher.
Are you saying there's a large possibility that Erling Haaland could just overtake him in future?
I don't know if Haaland will overtake either Ronaldo or Lewandowski, but it says a lot that Lewandowski is keeping Erling Haaland as the second best striker
in the Bundesliga. Yes, yeah.
At his age, it would be okay for us to expect less goals, but he's scoring 50 goals a season. I mean, come on, at over 30, those are numbers we haven't seen in ever.
Okay, now a life-sized statue of Argentine soccer star Diego Armando Maradona was unveiled at Buenos Aires province's Ezeiza airport. Now, this life-sized Maradona statue now greets airport travelers. Location, Ezeiza, Argentina. Now, Maradona defined Argentinian soccer. The statue was commissioned by the company Aeropuertos Argentina 2000 and was made using a 3D printing technique. Diego Armando Maradona. Not your perfect role model, though, but he was the greatest thing. They say, I disagree, though, they say it was the greatest thing that ever happened to Argentinian football. Not your perfect role model, but it's Maradona.
Personally, I go for Messi as the best Argentinian footballer to ever live. I go for Pelé as the greatest,
Brazilian,
most accomplished footballer to ever live. Obviously, we're sorry that Diego Armando Maradona is gone. Tributes keep pouring in, and will do for many years to come. We will be here 30 years from now, still remembering the great man that he was. We loved him for his football, not his personality. So obviously, there's no point in questioning whether he's a good role model or not. As a footballer, he definitely played very well, and he inspired a lot of Argentinians. And Messi probably wouldn't be the player he is today without the inspired image of Diego Armando Maradona to look up to. So obviously, for many years, we'll probably still see many more statues be erected all around the world. There's a Jesus or Jesus statue in Rio de Janeiro. Don't be surprised if we get something quite as grand as that for Diego Maradona in Argentina.
Well, my opinion, Maradona is not my favorite role model. I told my kids a few years ago, when they were praising the hand of God, and I told them everything about Maradona has not, except for he's a fantastic footballer, but everything else about him is not just making him a good role model. Even the so-called hand of God, he cheated.
Yes, it's unfortunate. Sure, you're gonna players have gotten away with all kinds of cheats. Getting one or two past referees has happened over the years, and even in this day of VAR, players are still managing to get one over referees. Errant decisions are still being made. Unfortunately, the glorification of the hand of God, as though it was a hand of destiny that inspired the goal.
Argentina to the win.
Yes, I know we ascribe certain divinity to certain events around our history. Certain things were meant to happen, but unfortunately, when we bring it down to it, it might have escaped the view of the referee at the time, but we don't need to glorify it anymore. We can say Argentina won it as a matter of fact because the title wasn't taken away from them. But Diego Armando's contribution through that handball, it's not something we need to glorify.
Wow. Okay, now let's look at the fact that I am stunned at this. I'm stunned because I'm not a fan. And Mukai will probably be happy about this one, probably popping champagne right now about this. Now, Andy Murray is through to the final of the Mudabala World Tennis Championship after defeating Raphael Nadal in straight sets, 6-3, 7-5. It was the first time the pair had met since May 2016 and Nadal's first outing in more than 4 months following a foot injury. Both Murray and Nadal appeared in good physical condition following the exhibition, which will be welcome news for both players. Now, Murray will now face Andrei Rublev in today's final. It's the Mudabala WTA Championships in Dubai. And I didn't see this coming. Yes, he had a left foot injury for a long time. That's Raphael Nadal. He's come back. He's optimistic he was going to do well. He did try his best, but against Andy Murray, maybe he should have met somebody less, but it was Andy Murray, and Murray made it happen.
I know this is not traditional for tennis, but let's go, Murray. Let's go.
Yeah.
Murray being back, Murray winning such an important match against such an important player. It's always good to see for me. I know maybe not so much for you, but that aside, just getting to see these two players back playing tennis.
Wanted Nadal to win, not because of anything, because I know he puts so much into the game, and that's why he gets injured so quickly these days because of age. But it's good, like you said, it's good that we have seen both of them finally back on the courts again.
Not only just playing again, but playing against each other.
Yeah.
We've seen so many classic matches between these two players. Maybe not as many as Nadal versus Federer or Djokovic,
yeah.
But it's still nice to see. So obviously, I'm happy for Murray being able to win and go to the finals. We'll see if he's able to triumph over Rublev today, and if he does, like I said, he has one more in him. And this might just be it.
He's a fan, for the record. He's just a fan. Like I said, in the swimming championship in Dubai, Nigeria, I don't know if it was COVID or the international relations, I don't know. But in the English Women Premier League, EWPL, the Chelsea manager, Emma Hayes, has said fears about a possible COVID-19 outbreak in the squad affected our team's performance in their 4-0 Women's Champions League defeat at Wolfsburg. Now, goalkeeper Anne Catherine Berger and midfielder Drew Spence missed the game due to positive tests, as Chelsea were knocked out on goal differences after finishing third, level on 11 points with Juventus and group winners Wolfsburg. A number of Chelsea players were unable to go home for Christmas last year after the COVID-19 outbreak in the squad. Hayes says there were 20 positive cases last year and that she fears Chelsea will be in the same position next week. I guess in Africa, and we're Nigerians, Nigeria is the case study. We don't know the gravity of what this Omicron or even COVID generally has done to us. Look at the coach, Chelsea women's coach, said that 20 players were actually infected last year, and the whole team couldn't go home for Christmas. The whole team. That's about 20-something players.
We're living in a privileged bubble in Africa.
Yes.
We don't know just how bad the fear, the daily livelihood of confronting COVID-19 every time you step out of your home, when you go to work, when you go to the supermarket. The truth is, people are every day wearing masks, and they're not wearing it under their chin. They're not wearing it just below their nose. They're wearing it to protect themselves, and they're worried for themselves,
True.
their families, and even their friends. As privileged as we are, I hope that privilege doesn't go away, but it tells you and it reminds you of the reality that is happening in the rest of the world, that 20 players catch COVID means that there's a fear
Nobody goes home.
Everyone else might be
You know
carrying
what this
it.
means is, if you work in an organization like an office, and then one person catches COVID, to be safe, nobody leaves. You all stay there.
Yes.
For at least 14 days.
Yes, self-isolation. I mean, the number is down now for isolation days, but it's still a lot of days to be alone, knowing fully well that even after you get out of quarantine, you could catch the virus again.
True.
You could carry it, even if it doesn't affect you, even if it doesn't cause significant physical damage to you, you could still carry it. You could still be a carrier, and you could still infect other people.
So don't forget, from us at Plus Sports, don't forget it's a new variant. It's the Omicron variant COVID, and we hear it's deadlier. So please, everybody out there, please stay safe. Thank you very much, Mukoil.
Always.
Join us same time next week, Plus Sports special on PlusTvAfrica. I'll leave you with basketball, the NBA today. My name is Wally Scott. Till next week, like I always advise you at the end of every show, if not for anything, at least for your heart, do some sports.